I asked my viewers to anonymously send me some of their craziest confessions to read. And boy, did they bring the heat today. And of course, we're going to be playing some Minecraft while reading these. Starting off strong with the first confession titled, I've been living a double life for 4 years. I told my parents I was going to Michigan University and they were so proud. I even packed as if I was going. But instead, I moved to New Zealand. I don't know what compelled me to come, but it has been one of the best choices of my entire life. I found work with a small tourism company in Rotorua, taking people around the geothermal parks and Maori cultural sites. It wasn't pretty, but it felt genuine. My life changed drastically once again when I met Hannah. She was painting landscapes at a local market that seemed to come effortlessly onto the canvas. I wanted an excuse to talk to her, and I asked her to paint a picture I had saved on my phone. As she painted, we talked. Yet the conversation never seemed to end, and somehow that turned into a life. Roughly 2 years into dating, we went on a road trip where I proposed, and I got married by Lake Taupo. No guests, no announcements, just us and vows that made me love her more. Then Mia came along. She's just started walking, has Hannah's eyes, and a little laugh that makes everything in my life that tiny bit better. But all this time, my parents think I'm studying English in Michigan University. They send emails and call me and ask me about my professors I've met. I'm forced to respond with generic information and send pictures I find online. I've built a life they don't know exists. I don't know how to tell them. I don't even know if I want to, but I know that I should. Wow, this really is a 0 to 100 type of situation. I mean, you went from theoretically going to college to moving to a new country, starting a job, meeting the love of your life, and having a child with her, and your parents somehow don't know about this? That is quite crazy. Look, there really isn't an easy way to do this, but you should maybe go home and tell them. Because when was the last time you went home, right? When was the last time you saw your parents? You can either have a phone call with them or like a video call with them and show them everything that's going on, or you go home, tell them, and invite them to come to New Zealand and see what has happened. First things first, start by telling them that you're not going to university at all, okay? That is the first thing you need to do. And the next thing is, little by little, I guess, tell them, look, I've been working at this tourism company and I love it. Then I met this girl. Just do one by one and just rip the Band-Aid off. It's going to take a while for them to process this, but it's better than you not telling them at all, you know? Although I am curious to know, why did you not tell your parents about any of this? I mean, surely after the first year of you just being in New Zealand and having that job, you could have told them something, right? I would love to know your thought process behind this. If you could leave that in the comments below. I know, again, I've said that these are anonymous, but this is just too interesting, man. I would love to know more about this. And you know what? Leave a like on this video if you guys would like to know more about this as well, and I'll pin his comment. Good luck with that, man. I'm happy for you, too. Wow. This one is titled, I took part in gang violence. I got a tip on this dude from Tennessee. He was always flashing cash, jewels, cars, the whole thing. My girl put me onto him and she said she knew where he'd be that night. So I told her if she helped me catch this guy, I'd give her some nice jewelry and clothes. Later that day, I got in position, Glock tucked, mask ready, and I wasn't nervous. This was just another lick, a way to even the score. The plan was simple. She'd lure him out, I'd handle the rest. A little after 6, he pulled up in a brand new Porsche, clean as hell. Then she walked up, leaned in, kissed him, and I swear he looked like the happiest man alive. That's when I made my move. Crouched low, silent, creeping up on the car. Then I heard some voices. They shouted, "What's cracking?" And I finally recognized who they were. My stomach dropped. They were right there and I didn't have time to think. I turned and fired. I definitely hit them. Everything was blurred after that. Tires screeched, someone screamed, and I just ran. When I finally stopped, I could smell the gunpowder on my hands. I told myself it was worth it, but now I know that I messed up. Okay, so for those of you that didn't fully understand that, basically this guy got a tip to rob someone, went to rob someone, and then I'm assuming ran up on his ops, his opposition, his, gang enemies or whatever, right? Crips versus Bloods type of thing. And this guy just straight up committed a crime. You've just confessed to a crime here. And I really don't know what to say to this. This is a really, really crazy confession. Look, man, the only thing I'm going to say to you is that you need to consider your life choices. And as much as I want to say you should turn yourself in, I don't think you will. So please try to not hurt anyone else. And yeah, I'm going to move on from this. The next one is called, I got rid of my dad's girlfriend. Okay. So my parents are divorced, have been for years. My mom has moved on and been with my now stepdad for around 10 years. and my dad has had a few partners over the years. I live with my mom and visit my dad for a weekend every 2 weeks. In 2022, he was dating a lady I'm going to call Assface. Assface, as the name supports, was an assface, period. They had been living together for a couple of weeks, like a month at most at this point. She was always trying to get us to do things like family photos and that sort of thing, probably with good intentions, but still kind of overstepping. Then one night, she was at my dad's place. Dad got up to go to the bathroom, and she looked me dead in the eyes and said, and I quote, "Do you think your mom does a good job parenting you?" End quote. And I was just like, yeah? She then said, quote, "I don't have any kids, you know. I'd like to call you my daughter, just like you'd probably call me mom," end quote. Hello? I loved and still do love my mom, so I was not taking that. This lady trying to say she's my mom to me. So the next time I was at my dad's, I made the most Mission Impossible plan ever. I made a fake WhatsApp account on my old iPad with a male name. Late that night, I stole her phone, added the fake account, and made a heap of texts back and forth, and then put her phone back. The next day, I texted her on my fake account saying, quote, "So we still meeting tonight, kitten?" End quote. Because the word kitten is hilarious to me. And my dad saw it, accused her of cheating, and they broke up. Mission accomplished. Bro, what the hell, man? That is insane. I have so many feelings for this. Number one, okay, I get that you didn't like this woman and that she was a problem, but you should have just said to your dad that she was doing that. We don't know if she deserved for this to happen to her, right? This is a very big invasion of privacy and a very big, just sneaky thing to do. That said, I cannot lie. This is quite impressive that you pulled this off, but also this is very sad, and I honestly don't even know if you coming clean is going to do anything for this. I mean, that relationship is not going to be normal ever again, and you are probably going to get very, very heavily disciplined. So yeah, I don't know what to say about this, but you shouldn't be meddling in your dad's, love life, man. That's, unless she's straight up abusing you or is just mean to you, and in which case then say something to your dad first, and if I guess he's not listening, then do something, Anyway, good luck to you, I guess. You guys are ruthless today. The next one is called I Tried Voodoo. In elementary school, I used to be bullied by this one kid. When I went home for a break, I was so mad that I grabbed a doll and a needle and imagined the doll was him. I stabbed the doll repeatedly, but after a moment of clarity, I got scared that he actually died. When I got to school an hour later, I had so much anxiety because I felt like a murderer. When I got to school, I saw that he was still alive. I was relieved. When he saw me, though, he immediately called me fat again. There was no remorse to what I did anymore. Well, that's fair. That is pretty funny, though. Like, as a kid, sometimes you really don't know how things are going to turn out, if the higher powers and spirits are actually there or not there. Pretty interesting story. Thank you for sharing. This confession is titled, I Think I'm a Psychopath. I watched porn of animals and gore. I was introduced to porn at a young age, like 8 or 5. I watched every day practically, and as I got older, my curiosity grew. Then through a YouTube video, I found out what zoophilia was. I thought it was disgusting that people did that to animals, but I didn't fully understand how bad it was since I have autism, and it's hard to understand emotions. So I looked it up and watched the video, and for the first time, I felt a strong emotion of disgust, anger, and lust. So I seeked out more stuff that would give me a strong feeling like that, and soon I came across gore. The feeling of overwhelming anxiety and adrenaline from watching it is addictive. And I have a fantasy of hurting and killing people, also animals. But the thought of getting caught and going to prison, plus how they would feel if I did those things, is keeping me from doing any of it. I've told my mom and dad, but nothing has happened, plus my mom also watches gore. Okay, this is a concerning one for sure. I think you need to check yourself into therapy immediately. I think you need to find a psychiatrist, psychologist, or anything of that sort, and talk to them, because this is not a joke. I understand that you stumbled upon this at a very young age, but if you're having fantasies of hurting and killing people and animals, that is a clear problem, and you need to deal with it. Please, I don't know what your mom and dad are doing. They should be also making sure you go to therapy. So please ask them to do that. This is not a joke. Next one is, I don't really miss my dad even though he died. Okay, so some background is probably needed. My mom and dad got divorced when I was like 5, and even then, he didn't live with us, and both of my parents cheated on each other. So, my mom eventually filed for divorce. My father said that he was fine with me living with my mom full time, and he was also fine with paying child support and stuff. So after this, or even before, I only really saw him every month, sometimes every 2 weeks, but never really more than that. So when I was 13, he died. It was really hard, but not very different from usual, and I was used to not seeing him, and so I just couldn't miss something that was never really there. And at first I felt horrible about not missing him, but I learned to just accept the fact. And also, even though I don't really miss him, I still appreciate the time he did spend with me. Well, this does not seem like a crazy thing to me, okay? If you take it to the extreme, if you had a father that you never met once in your life, you're not going to miss him when you hear about him dying. You might feel some type of way that like, oh, damn, I never got to meet my father or something. But if he's absent your whole life, you're not going to feel strongly towards him. Same way in a relationship, if you break up with someone, eventually the feelings fade. You're not going to continue to feel love for this person if you don't see them every day, if you're not around them every day. Like, your brain eventually does forget, or it just becomes less close. So if you saw your dad every day, yeah, you probably would have felt a lot worse when he died. So just know that this is a very normal thing. You shouldn't feel bad about not missing someone who wasn't really in your life. But I appreciate you sharing that, and best of luck to you. This next confession is titled Losing Attraction. I've been with my girlfriend for about 2 years now, and about 6 months ago, I noticed she's been gaining weight. I try to help her when she asks for ways to slim down and lose weight, as I take my personal fitness very seriously, but she doesn't want to put in the work the right way to get to where she wants to be. She's always asking me if I still find her attractive, and I know I'm lying to her when I say yes. We haven't been intimate in 3 months, as I constantly make up excuses and try to avoid it, and it is clearly dampening the relationship. I've since developed a porn addiction and constantly fantasize over other women. I still love her for the person she is and the relationship we have, but I'm too afraid to tell her the truth, as I feel it will destroy her and our relationship. Any tips, Niko? Jeez, man, this is a very rough thing, because I know a lot of people are going to criticize this and say this is a very messed up thing to do and you should love her for who she is, not the way she looked. But the truth is, guys, we're attracted to people based on looks too, okay? Especially guys, okay? Like, guys are very visual creatures, and it's just kind of the way we're biologically wired, okay? This is not a thing we necessarily control, but it is very unfortunate. Look, there's a nice way to sort of bring this about, but if you're getting to the point where you're just fantasizing about other women, you either need to say something, or you have to somehow make it seem like it's her idea to do healthier things, like push her towards a healthier lifestyle. You could also make it sound this way, where it's like, look, you're developing a lot of unhealthy habits, and I want to be with someone that has healthier habits. Like, we should start eating better, we should start working out together more, or something. Like, just make it seem like it's a relationship thing. Make it seem like it's you both need to do this. Make it a thing of, look, this is what I need in my relationship. I want to be healthy. I want both me and my girlfriend to be healthy. And if this is not something she wants to commit to, if this is not something that is important to her, then this is past the point of you not being attracted to her. This is just a mismatch in general, all right? It makes sense for someone who's physically fit and goes to the gym all the time to also want to be with someone who's physically fit and goes to the gym. It's not like you're 400-pound Andy, based on what you're talking about, that just wants this girl to be the top 10 model. You're a person that works out, and you want your partner to work out with you. The one thing I do want to say to you is definitely stop watching porn, okay? Because that, especially now, especially as you're losing attraction to your partner, will make it completely impossible to want to get intimate with her. Like, this is already an issue with people who have an addiction to porn, okay? Like, people who are addicted to this stuff. You hear stories all the time about how they can't, perform in the bedroom because they are so conditioned to the way they perform intimate acts by themselves, to the point where they don't want to do anything with their partner. That's your first step. Cold turkey that. Just try and be gentle about this if you can. If you're finding that there's no real way to really talk about this in a most gentle way possible, just try to find your words and be honest about what you're feeling, okay? Don't straight up say, I think you're fat and ugly or anything, but you know what I mean? Like, just ease into this, because it's not going to be an easy conversation if you have to have it in the more direct way, okay? And I'd love to know what you guys in the comments think about this one. I don't think I really would have the right answer for this no matter what. So let bro know. But best of luck to you, and I hope this helps. I masturbated in a kindergarten when I was 15. Come on, guys. Like, we need to start doing better than this. God damn it. I don't know if you're doing a second part, but when I was in the 9th grade, my school required me to do an internship. So I applied to a painting company. Everything was going fine, and our small group was tasked to paint the walls in the kindergarten. I was painting the basement specifically. My coworkers taught me how to prepare the walls and then left me alone down there to work on the task independently while they painted the kitchen walls. During that time, I was feeling quite, you know what hormones do to teenagers, so I did the thing, pulled my pants back up, and went back to working on finishing the basement. Just to make it clear, there were no children in the basement. It was pretty much only used for storage and laundry. I still don't like to tell people that I did this in a kindergarten though. 3 out of 10 wouldn't do it again. I would hope that you wouldn't do it again. Okay, well, the only saving grace you have here is that you were 15 and you were also a child. That being said, oh man, okay, dude, I get it, bro. I get it. I remember hormones at that age. They're just raging all the time. You just sometimes just need to get one out. But you're at a workplace, my brother. Like you're there to work. What if your bosses had come down to check in on you or like had forgotten something there and just like saw you pants down, just meat flute in hand, just smacking it while you're supposed to be painting a wall? Like, can you imagine? Can you just imagine catching that, like seeing that and being the boss of this kid and just being like, what do I do with this? Like, what would you do with this? Even when I was in middle school, there were kids that were, strange and would just go in the corner of the classroom during recess and do it, or just like whip it out for no reason. It's just like the kids are just strange like that. Okay, at least you didn't traumatize any kindergartners, because you would have been thinking about that one for life. Anyway, next confession. This one is titled "Getting Too Friendly with My Pet." Okay, it is sadly that type of friendly that you were thinking of. This was during a time where I was not only very lonely emotionally, my friends weren't there for me at all, but I was also very touch-starved. So one night when I was horny, I wondered if the cat would have any interest in quote-unquote it. Don't worry, nothing was put inside anything, nor did I force the cat physically, but the cat did lick it because of the interesting smell. Okay, the interesting smell? What? Oh, okay, I'm gonna keep going. After just a minute, a huge sense of shame washed over me and I went away. To be honest, the cat couldn't have cared less, and it made me understand that cats and animals in general are much less bothered by bodies than humans are. It was no different from if I was really sweating on my arm or something. A cat probably would have licked that too unfazed. I want to state that it really wasn't hot, nor did I expect it to be. I just really wanted a connection. I'd like for this to be a cautionary tale. Animals don't reciprocate these feelings, they are not attracted to humans, let alone the fact that they literally can't give consent. Ultimately, the cat is fine, I cared for it greatly, but my intentions were not moral, and I still feel bad about this many years later. All right, well, this is... I don't really know what to say to this. I genuinely do not know what to say to this, okay? Look, I feel like this should go without saying. Leave your animals alone when it comes to that part of your life, man. I'm just going to comment on the fact that you said that you wanted a connection, okay? Look, if you're that depraved of connection and touch-starved and all of that stuff, you need to go outside and talk to people and meet people. Leave your pets alone. The one thing you are right about is, yes, cats do not have the capacity to be attracted to humans. Neither does any other animal with an animal that's not part of its species. Now, that being said, you were clearly having a really bad time in your life, and you did something very, very unfortunate, to say the least, okay? Hopefully you don't repeat this. I really do hope, and I really do think you should seek therapy because of this incident. You might think you're okay, but I don't know, man. This is one of those things where I'm not exactly too sure on how much I can trust a mental state, right? I don't think I would trust my own mental state if that was a thing I did. So, best of luck to you. I hope you seek some therapy, and yeah, stay away from animals like that, okay? The next one is called Middle School Gym Teacher. Here we go again. While mentioning the elementary school gym teacher in your first confession video, it made me think back to a time in my life where I knew a guy who was an absolute weirdo, and the school board did nothing about him. In my middle school, I had a friend group, roughly 8 to 10 people, that would fluctuate through. We all shared a gym class, and throughout the year, I had noticed my gym teacher would talk about the girls in my class very inappropriately. He would constantly compliment them, and only them, and move them deliberately closer to his position. And eventually, one of them got incredibly freaked out about it and confided in one of my other friends. She had no chill and would yell to everyone that would listen about how this guy was a pedophile. and how it was really weird to middle school teenagers. Eventually, the school board quote-unquote got involved, and all 10 people in my friend group were dragged into a school faculty room and told that if we said anything about it ever again, we would be expelled instantly, and we would have it on our permanent records for lying or something like that. Chuddy school. Yeah, that is very suspicious of that school. I mean, it sounds like they're just trying to cover up that it ever happened so it doesn't go more public. I'm assuming this guy still works there, which is quite unfortunate. I hope that something gets done about this eventually, but it doesn't sound like anything ever did. Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know, but warn people in younger classes to stay away from that guy at the very least, and tell your parents, man. Your parents are there to protect you. If you tell them that your gym teacher is being a weirdo, they're going to do something about it, hopefully as your parents. Anyway, thanks for sharing. This confession is titled Scared of Thunder. When I was younger, I had a childhood guy best friend and developed feelings for him. One night we were calling and it started to rain and there was thunder. I decided to put on an act and acted terrified every time there was a sound of thunder to get comforted by him. Me and him only dated for like 1 or 2 months and broke up, deciding that we were just better off as friends and realized we only platonically loved each other. The funny thing is that now I truly am scared of thunder and get genuine comfort from my now boyfriend. Huh. So you inadvertently cause yourself a phobia by convincing yourself that you had the phobia. And now it's a persisting thing in your life. So interestingly enough, you could theoretically convince yourself you're not scared of thunder and eventually it would go away. That is so interesting. The brain is such a powerful place and such a weird place. That's why people say to you like not to talk negatively about yourself all the time, because your brain starts to believe certain things. And we're all very guilty of that stuff. So I think I'm going to take that as a sign for my own life to like maybe not try and convince myself of certain things when times are bad. But thank you for sharing that. That is very interesting. This one is titled Crushing on Someone Who You Shouldn't Be Crushing On. I can't wait. This is going to be an Alabama special, isn't it? About 2 years ago, it was my first time seeing my uncle. What did I say? What did I say? What did I say, chat? Did I not just say this? He's my mom's half-brother. Since my grandparents were divorced a long time ago, my grandpa married another woman, and right now he has a son that I have a crush on. So your grandfather married another woman and had a kid with her. So this guy is related to you only through your grandfather. So this is technically like a cousin. Okay. Ever since I saw him, I can't get my mind off of him. I keep fantasizing about him, dreaming. I found out that I followed him on TT, is that TikTok, Twitter, whatever, a while ago before we even met. When he posted his face, I saw him and reached out to him. And I told him that we had met before in Thanksgiving. We've been chatty since I added him on his socials. I got so crazy since I met him. I couldn't sleep thinking of him. It's been 2 fucking years. What sucks is that he is my uncle. IRL, when we meet in special occasions, we would stare into each other's eyes, and you could tell we both feel the same way. I always find my heart jumping when I see his posts on IG. When I reply to his stories in IG and compliment him, he's trying to be flirty and responding back, but I always think this is wrong, so I change the subject. In reality, I would have flirted back, but I can't do anything about it, because if something started between us, it would end badly for the whole family. I need to get over this. Thanks, Niko, for always entertaining us with your videos. Listen, lass, I don't know what to tell you here, but okay. I'm going to say one thing in your favor here. Only one, okay? Because you guys are technically far enough apart in genetics, because it's like a half brother, half something with a grandparent, like you're a little bit far apart. So if you run the calculations, you will find that genetically, this is not the craziest thing in the world. Now, is it socially accepted? No. Is your family going to lose their minds if this happens? Probably yes. And in general, is it overall a bad idea to date someone who is related to you in that regard? Yes, absolutely. There's a reason that kings and queens from the 1500s started looking very, very deformed because they, well, kept it in the family a little too much, a little too purebred. So do with that as you will. I really don't know what to tell you. Don't have relations with family members. I think this should go without saying. Get over it. Find a different guy. There's so many thousands, millions of people in the world. Please just pick a different one for your own sake. I used to beat up puppies as a little kid. Oh man, what? Back when I was 6 or 7 years old, me and my friend, let's call him Jay, developed this interest in beating little puppies. I don't know why we did it. It was so fucking stupid. But I guess at the time, me and my friend didn't really understand that other animals actually felt pain and emotions. We used to think that they'll just get up and forget about it. Me and Jay did stop doing it, especially because I moved out of town and grew up and realized how fucked up what we did was. Even after the fact, it's been over 11 years and I still think about it and regret what I did. And I pray that those dogs are okay. Sorry for this being very lengthy. I've never told anyone about this before. Thanks for listening. Okay, well, listen, kids sometimes can be very mean. Kids sometimes do some crazy stuff. That being said, as long as you know that what you did is incredibly, incredibly wrong, then there's not really much you can do. I mean, you still have regret and you still think about what you did. So I don't really know what to say to you. I'm glad that you've since learned, and I'm glad that you have refrained from doing that. But that is very, very messed up indeed. This one is called I Cooked My Digital Footprint. So, 2022, 6th grade, the last year of my primary school, and I decided I was going to be the coolest person. Big mistake. See, my dad was a chill parent, like almost not even a parent. My mom, however, was not strict, but was safe. Like monitor my devices and that stuff, and as a responsible parent does. I was at my dad's one weekend, and of course I had like everything a 6th grader shouldn't have. TikTok, Twitter, Discord, you name it. And at this time I was a TikTok user mostly because my dad didn't care what I did. I posted some TikToks, I thought they were cool at the time, and that's that, no harm done. Until 8th grade, one of my classmates said something about finding an old account they think was mine. At this point I had forgotten all about it, until it was mentioned. I was so embarrassed and asked to go to the bathroom to get out of the class. No one mentioned it again for a while until I was at the shop alone and a 10th grader that worked there mentioned it. This is where it kind of set in that I was cooked. I don't know to this day if anyone else knows, not even my parents I hope. People were making fun of me nonstop, like at recess in class, but I've always been a straight A student and good at school, so if I randomly mentioned bullying, it would be taken too seriously, and people would investigate then to find out. So what I did, I asked to be homeschooled, and it actually worked. Anyway, if you're planning to post on social media, think about it before you do, because I can't log into that account and delete it, so it's there forever now. See, this is what I mean with parents, man. Parents really need to start monitoring their kids' stuff more. Especially, I mean, he did mention that his mom monitored his stuff, but the dad is an L dad, man. Like, no 6th grader should be on TikTok making TikToks. Like 6th grade is like, I don't know, like 12 years old, 11 years old, right? So, like, I remember being 11 years old, and I remember, I was playing Minecraft at the time. Like, I just started playing Minecraft. I think I was watching YouTube at the time, but even still, like, I think I was in a generation where we had just first started being exposed to the internet at that scale. Now that we really have ways to monitor kids and do all that stuff on the internet, I think parents need to do a better job of doing that. You shouldn't be buying your kids like tablets and everything, because you're gonna end up with an iPad kid who freaks out the moment the iPad isn't in front of him. And yeah, parent your children, people. And what this kid is saying is right. If you plan on posting something on social media, be careful, because if you lose those accounts, there is a forever digital footprint, and sometimes they can get ugly, like getting bullied. That being said, I hope you get the courage to go back to regular school if you'd like to do that. I mean, I get if you want to stay homeschooled, but, it sucks that kids bullied you. But I think socially you will probably benefit more from going to an actual school than being homeschooled. So anyway, I don't know what your situation is now. Regardless, best of luck to you, and thanks for sharing. This one is titled, I Was a Dumb 7th Grader. When I was younger and in middle school, I had a crazy porn and hentai addiction that I'm disgusted of having. I used to watch porn a lot, and I would go on Rule 34 to look at hentai of my favorite characters from TV shows and movies that I liked. Mind you, I was a normal kid for the most part. I just hung around some weird kids once that had a bad influence on me. Well, one day in the 7th grade, I was texting this girl that I was into late at night. We were both flirting with one another and playing Truth or Dare. While we were texting, I was also looking at images on Rule 34. Now, I don't know how I managed this because this was so long ago, but I somehow managed to add one of the pics I looked at to my clipboard. While I was texting this girl, I was editing a message and accidentally hit paste and then send quickly before I had time to react. I was mortified to see this very lewd picture of a certain SW character sent to my crush. Craziest part is I genuinely think I still carried on having a conversation with her after lying about how I sent it or something and kept talking with her. No, I didn't end up ever dating her due to some other drama that happened between us later in 8th grade. Yes, I'm very embarrassed of this, so much so that I haven't even told my girlfriend of 4+ years about this story. She'd never let me live it down the mouth. Yeah, dude, the copy-paste thing is such a rough thing. Like, you know, like when you have the Discord group chat or whatever, you're DMing your one friend on Discord, you have the most heinous gifs in the world from, and you just have this collection of them, and you send them to one another once in a while. But then once in a while, you're DMing somebody else, and you think you're DMing the same friend, or you just misclicked who you were DMing. Send that gift to the person that is clearly not the type of person to send it to, and then you're just sitting there like, holy shit, if this motherfucker read this, he's gonna think I'm absolutely crazy, and I should be put in a mental institution next to Ed Gein's head ass. So, trust me, man, we've all been there. We've all done some crazy stuff like that. That being said, sending hentai is really unfortunate, man. It's just, thanks for sharing. This one is titled, The Time I Found Out My Mom Slept With a Guy I Was Dating? Oh, this is great. Picture this. It's June, fresh start to the summer, birds chirping. My mom starts dating this guy who has a single friend. The single friend is in between me and my mom's age. A little older than I prefer, but he seems super nice. Is well off, and has his own successful business working on cars, the best in town. My mom was hardcore trying to set this up. We went on a few dates, had some fun nights, kissed, thank God nothing more. In August, my mom called me and said she saw him out on a date with someone I used to be friends with. So I ended things in a nice way because I know my old friend is actually crazy. I didn't want that mess. Well, just the other day, my mom was taking me to pick up my car from his shop, and after months, I caught her in a lie, which led to me finding out they have been sleeping together. My mom and car guy. I am sick. Am I wrong for being this upset? Okay, there's a lot of layers to this. So let's start with layer number one. You going out with people that are between you and your mom's age that are kind of like friends with each other is a pretty interesting... It's a very strangely incestuous thing. Like, I don't think I've ever want to be introduced to a woman by my dad who's in like the age range that he could be dating her and I could be dating her. I don't think that, you know what I mean? This just this doesn't sit right in my head. Anyway, now as far as you being wrong for being upset, no, you're not wrong for being upset. First of all, was your mom lying about the fact that your friend was dating him so that she could sleep with him? Part two, was your mom egging on the initial contact with this guy so she could also sleep with him after? Like, how deep does this conspiracy go? Because if it goes as far back as, oh, my mom really wanted him when I was dating him, so she made me date him for a little bit even though she knew I wouldn't like him or something, like, that's where I'm, like, trying to figure out what your anger level should be. That said, your mom was lying to you about dating someone that you went out with. I don't know, man. I feel like that as a mom, that's kind of a shitty thing to do. Like, no disrespect, but your mom's kind of a bop for that one. I don't really know what to tell you. So, yeah, I think you should be mad about it. I think you should be mad that she lied about that. And I think that you should be mad that she, slept with someone that you dated. You know, usually this isn't an issue you have to run into in a mother-daughter relationship. But anyway, thank you for sharing that. This next one is titled, Am I a Bad Son/Brother? It's been around 8 months since my parents died, and to be truthful, I never really felt any type of grief from it. I've just had no emotion, and I feel like I've bad son/brother since my family saw me at the funeral, as I was just sitting there with no real emotion on my face. And it was the same time when my grandfather died around 4 years ago, when I was 11. I'm living with my friend now, but he and his parents treat me like a kid that needs to be protected, like I could break at the smallest crack. That annoys me more than losing my parents. My elder sister, who is 19, is living at her boyfriend's, and every time I see her, she just breaks down crying, saying all sorts of stuff like, I'm sorry I can't be there for you and such. And seeing her cry that much doesn't really hurt me, it just makes me feel like a bad person, that I can't show such emotion since I never really cry at losing a person or a pet. As you can tell, in truth, I can't really remember the last time I cried. Damn, look man, first things first, I'm so terribly sorry for your loss. That is a very, I can't even imagine what processing that must be like. And clearly you're having struggles with it, so let me just say something. Listen, everyone processes grief differently, okay? You not crying is not 100% always like, oh, you should feel grief or this and that, and you're not displaying your emotions correctly. I, myself, don't always cry. Like, for example, I don't really cry in front of people. I very much avoid that. Like, I remember when my grandmother passed away, like, I was fine until I, like, started shaking people's hands and then them saying that they were sorry for my loss. But I was fine up until pretty much that point, right? I don't remember really crying too much during her funeral. Now, I know you're young and you don't fully get this right now. Maybe talk to whoever your current guardian is. If you feel like you should feel worse, maybe say, look, I don't feel this. Can you help me? If you need help, seek help is what I'm telling you. And don't feel embarrassed by it. Don't feel like you're wrong. Don't feel like you're at fault for this, okay? Best of luck to you, and thank you for sharing. This next one is titled, I Still Feel Bad for Her. Okay. When I was a kid, me, my brother, and my friend used to go around ringing random doorbells and doing some goofy stuff. Once I decided to give someone 5 pine cones when they opened the door. We did this a couple of times doing some other stuff, but when we rang an old lady's doorbell and while I was doing my usual nonsense, my friend decided that it was the perfect time to pull his wiener out. She started screaming at us and we ran for our lives. Bro, ain't no way you just flashed the poor old lady. I can't lie, that is kind of funny, but it's like, come on, man. Like, there's so many things you could have done. You don't have to score the poor lady for life, okay? Anyway, thank you for sharing. This next one is titled, This Was a Christian School. And already this is going to be something crazy. Okay, let me set the scene. I used to go to this Christian private school when I was in middle school, and the whole school had like 12 students, and it was in a church building. All the girls had to wear dresses that went at least right above the knee, and the boys had to wear collared shirts and khakis. I was eating lunch one time, and after I was done eating, I started walking to the bathroom, but I heard a weird noise from the broom closet. I opened the door out of curiosity, but I assumed it was a mouse because the building had mouse problems. I was very, very wrong. One of the boys, who was much, much older than me, he was like 18 and I was like 12, was in there butt naked on FaceTime with one of the very old female teachers. I slammed the door so fast and never brought it up with him. We never talked again, and I couldn't even make eye contact with him or the teacher. Looking back, I feel really bad for not reporting it to the other teachers or the police. Well then, look, man, don't feel bad about this. You were 12. You walked into something that was traumatizing, especially for a 12-year-old. I mean, this is not a normal thing to happen. So don't feel bad about not reporting it. That being said, this is crazy, okay? But you know what? It looks like we have a lot of teachers that just can't keep it in their pants. I think we need to restructure the education system. We need to get all the creepy teachers out, man. That's all I know. This one is titled, I pooped in a potato salad bowl at my grandma's house. All right. Me and my cousin were hanging out at my Sunday dinner. We go to my grandma's house every Sunday night, and we were talking about fertilizing a plant and growing a tomato plant or something. I told him that you can fertilize a plant with poop, so he gave me a bowl he found. I went to the back and popped a squat and pooped in it. I came back around and we brought it inside to our family, and we said we had a dead lizard in it. They believed it, and they sent us outside to clean it, but they told us it was a potato salad bowl we use. Oh dear, me and my cousin's smile faded as we walked out back to wash it out. When we were cleaning it with a hose, my cousin's mom saw me and him plugging our noses. She came out and saw the poop, and it got in a lot of trouble. I hope this wisdom helps you in life, Niko. Yeah, listen, man. I don't know if I really needed the wisdom of that. I don't think I've ever considered pooping in a potato salad bowl. But especially not the one that you use to actually eat potato salad in. I don't know if I would use that again personally, but kids sometimes they your heart's in the right place, but not exactly the right execution. Maybe use actual fertilizer next time, and maybe a pot. But yeah, best of luck to you in your planting endeavors. Don't use your own poop next time. The next one is titled, I like to see people being hurt. Okay, dude. I don't know why or how, but I grew to like seeing people in physical pain. Not emotional, because I think I'm a bit more empathetic to that. I like to collect clips of movies and media that shows fights, self-harm, torture, and the like. I don't go as far as actually going to weird sites that caters to that, because I think a lot of that would be more for sexual pleasure. The pleasure I experience isn't sexual at all. I'm actually asexual, but rather like a warm feeling in my chest. I like to rewatch my collected clips over and over again until watching it doesn't give me the warm feeling anymore. This relationship with seeing others experiencing pain may have affected me a bit, I'm not gonna lie. My intrusive thoughts are very violent and have gotten more frequent over the years. I don't actually hurt my peers IRL, but I do like to hit my dog sometimes. It's great because he can't speak and low-key can't differentiate aggressive petting and physical harm, Lamau. That is not funny, bro. Like, what? My friends would say that I'm very physical and I do roughhouse a lot. I plan on trying to learn how to restrain myself from actually hurting them, because the other day I accidentally yanked out the necklace from one of my friends and broke it while I was joking with him. That kind of made me realize that I might be unintentionally abusive in the future. So yeah, I really, really like the warm feeling from seeing people hurt, but I don't want to be the one to hurt them. I want to keep this guilty pleasure to myself and learn how to restrain my strange, violent tendencies so it doesn't ruin my IRL relationships. Okay, man, look, this is a slippery slope you're on. If you're starting to like hit your dog and you're starting to get super violent in real life, this is past intrusive thoughts, okay? We all have intrusive thoughts. I've had intrusive thoughts of hurting people, usually people I don't like, not because I get a warm feeling in my chest, but this is something you need to go see a therapist for. I don't know how old you are, I don't know what the full context of this is, but you need to tell someone. As much as you want to keep this to yourself, this could turn into something really bad one day. You might actually really hurt someone because the more you see stuff, the more desensitized you're going to get, and you're going to look for ways to get that warm feeling in your chest again that videos no longer satisfy, okay? Please, 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 if you don't tell, say, a parent, if you don't tell, like, a friend, tell a licensed professional, okay? Therapy. I think a lot of the consensus today is that a lot of you people need therapy. See a psychiatrist, something of the sort, okay? And you especially. This goes without saying, but stop beating your dog and don't get physical with your friends. Like, that, I don't care how appealing it is to you. Check yourself before you wreck yourself or wreck somebody else, please. See a therapist. This next one is titled, I Burnt My Ass. My cousins have a house way out in the backwoods with a huge 10-acre yard and an even bigger surrounding property. We were zooming around the yard playing cops and robbers on their go-karts when me and my cousin managed to make the other one pull over. I was going to play it cool, so I leaned against the frame of the go-kart and instantly got my ass burnt because I touched the engine. I was wearing super short shorts, so I hardly had any protection, and because it was my ass, I couldn't see how bad it was. My cousins looked worried and said it didn't look good, but I just brushed them off because it just felt like a sunburn. We decided to just go in the house to keep playing, and later we stole their parents' burn cream because the sunburn itchiness was annoying me. I mentioned it to my mom the next morning just as we were leaving as a, oh, by the way, and it turns out I had a 3rd-degree burn, lol. It looked like something between a tire track and an upside-down sombrero. We treated it pretty well, so it healed up completely with no issues. It didn't even leave me a cool sombrero scar. Sad face. You wanted a sombrero scar? Really? This was what bothered you from this? Not that you could have had severe nerve damage because of this? Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can say to you, man. Just stay off the goddamn engine, okay? And thanks for sharing. This confession is titled, Mrs. Brown. Okay, so I had this teacher in high school that was low-key bad as hell. After I was 18 and out of school, we ended up meeting on a dating app. Okay, finally, this is at least legal. Oh, wait a minute. She was married. I knew that, but I had to check it out. On her profile, she had pictures of her in bikinis and stuff. You know, normal dating app stuff. I started messaging her, and she was getting super sexual. She was 40-something, by the way. I ignored her and found her husband's account on Facebook and sent him the screenshots of it all. He said he knew and was planning on cutting her brake lines on her car out of spite. I immediately called the police and reported him. Also turns out she was a prostitute while being a teacher and having a husband. Okay, round of applause for this guy, bro, because not only did you expose infidelity, but you also saved someone from being literally murdered and saved someone from going to jail for committing a murder. I mean, I guess he's going to jail for, intent to commit murder, but it's better than having actually done it. So this is a very good ending to this story, even though it started out being the usual creepy teacher story. And with that, I think we should end this on a high note. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to leave another form in the description, and this time, I want you guys to give me your scariest stories. We're right around Halloween, and I want some good scary stories. Not your typical spooky little story for around the campfire. I'm talking about, like, horrifying, okay? But that's all for now. Good night, and good luck, everybody.